Good morning. We're getting toyed with the weather here in New York recently. 2 days ago it was 65 degrees, now it's back to like 40 with wind, so just can't catch a break and get out of this winter gear. I'm really looking forward to spring. But right now, today, I'm doing the Endorphin line matchup for Saucony for this year, 2024. So right now I'm wearing the new Speed 4s. Then after these I'm going to switch to the new Pro 4s and then close with the Endorphin Elite, which technically came out last year, but they haven't come out with the Endorphin Elite 2 yet, so that's still Saucony's top of the line race shoe. Now I'm expecting this run to kind of be a progression run just naturally based on the shoes. The Endorphin Speed has the Power Run PB midsole. It's bouncy, stable. It has a nylon plate in there, which gives you some propulsion and stability, but it's not as stiff as a carbon plate, so it's not giving you as much propulsion as the Pro 4. The Pro 4, in addition to having the carbon plate, is also a little bit lighter, has a thinner upper, and it has a dual layer midsole with Power Run PB on the bottom and Power Run HG on top of that. And the Power Run HG is the foam that the Elite has exclusively, all Power Run HG in its midsole, and that's a little bit lighter foam. It's a little bit firmer, a little bit bouncier than the PB. So basically the idea is the Speed's going to give you a softer, more comfortable, less aggressive feeling, and then we're stepping up in aggressiveness as we go up the line. So the carbon plate and having the Power Run HG in the Pro 4, it's going to give you a little bit more energy return, a little bit more snap. And then the Endorphin Elite is the all-out performance shoe. So we'll see how this run goes today. Another thing I thought I should mention before I get started here, if anybody watched my review on the Speed 4, you would have seen I had some fit issues with it. I got a blister on my first run. That shoe comes with very stretchy shoelaces, and I had a really hard time getting a good lockdown because every time you try and tighten the laces, they would loosen back up. So that resulted in me not having a great lockdown. I got some rubbing on the back of my right foot, which resulted in a blister. So as soon as I got back from that run, I swapped out the laces. Now I have the Visi laces in this shoe from another pair of Saucony shoes, which are more standard laces. They're not stretchy, so I'm getting a much better lockdown using these laces. So also on this run today, I'm not doing a runner's knot. I'm just using the less stretchy races and I'm already getting a much better lockdown. Another quick point on these, just for informational purposes, I do find that the Pro 4 has a little bit more of a narrow, the Speed 4 has a little bit more of a narrow toe box than the Speed 3. So if you have a wider foot, this might not fit you as well as the Speed 3. That has a little bit more volume in the toe box. However, I also feel like this shoe runs a little bit longer. In running shoes, I'm usually a 12 or a 12.5. Every version of the Endorphin Speed and Pro, I've gone with the 12.5. I also have a 12.5 in this shoe and the Pro 4. In the Pro 4, I feel like the 12.5 fits me perfect the way I'm used to with Saucony Speed shoes in that size. This one I actually have a little bit more than a full thumb between my big toe and the front of the shoe, which I think may have also been one of the reasons why I had a problem getting a good lockdown. I have a little bit too much length in this shoe. So I would say if you got whatever size you went for in the Speed 3, it might actually make sense to go a half size down in the Speed 4. So I would have loved to try these on before I bought them and see if the 12 was maybe a little bit too tight, but I'm thinking that a 12 would be better for me in this shoe since this one's running a little bit longer than I would like. So first mile done in the Speed 4. Did it in I think around 6:56, like just under 7 minutes. It was my first mile, so I wasn't pushing super hard. I was running at a comfortable pace, which felt good in the shoe. First big difference you notice immediately with the Pro 4, now I have one on each foot, is how much better the upper fits me on the Pro 4. It's just tighter all around. The midfoot, the toe box, it has a nice tighter fit. And again, as I kind of showed before, this one is a 12 and this one's a 12.5, and I have a whole thumb there. This one is also 12.5, and my toe is much closer to the front of the shoe here. So this is really the perfect fit that I'm looking for, where this one I have a little bit too much volume in the shoe. So this is going to be a weird description here. I think these two shoes, the Speed 4 and the Pro 4, the Pro 4 is marginally better, but in a noticeable way. So what I mean by that is they feel very similar. They both have that power run PB. They both have a plate in them. They both have the speed roll geometry. So the actual bounce and roll of the shoe feels very similar. But then you look down at your watch and see how much faster you're running. So to me, it's almost like me at the beginning of a training block versus me at the end of a training block. Everything's just gotten a little bit better. You know, my fitness is a little bit better. I'm a little bit faster. So the first thing I noticed when I wore the two shoes together is how much better the upper fits me on the Pro 4. Having that tighter upper, the integrated tongue does a better job of wrapping my forefoot. My heel slides nicely into the back of the shoe. I really prefer race shoes that don't have plastic in the heel counter. I just find it's more comfortable if it's just a soft heel counter. That works better for me, which this shoe has. So the fit immediately is better. And then once I get up to speed, these just feel, they feel a little bit lighter, which they are, but also the roll is better. Like the plate is doing a better job of giving you forward propulsion. So it has a similar bounce and roll, but there's a little bit more pop at the end of each step, which really helps you to gain that higher speed, give you a little bit more momentum. I believe I did that mile in 6:25, so I was about like 20 something seconds faster than in the Speed 4. So again, it didn't feel like I was going that much faster, but I was. So like I said, it feels marginally better, but in a significant way. And again, if I was gonna going with that training versus racing, I do think these two shoes make a really good pairing, where the Speed is kind of a more relaxed version of this that you can put your daily miles in, throw in some strides, go a little bit faster. But then if you switch to this one on race day, you'll have a very similar feel to the shoe, but just a pumped up version of it, you know, more explosion, a little more assistance. So again, shoes very similar, but this one definitely gives you a little bit more oomph that you're looking for on race day. So I have a 12.5 in both the Pro 4 and the Endorphin Elite, and that's the size I need for both of those shoes. The fit of I have them both on my feet right now. The Pro 4 actually fits me the best of these three shoes. The Elite has a little bit more room in the upper, in the toe box. See if I can show you that there. There's a little bit more room to wiggle my toes here. So if someone has a wider foot or a little more volume in your foot, there's definitely more room in the toe box of the Elite. But I actually like the fit of the Pro better. That has a tighter fit around my foot. That has a better racing fit to me. Running in both shoes together briefly there, the Elite definitely feels a little bit lighter, which it is, a little bit firmer, which it is, and also a little bit more propulsive. I feel like the Speed and the Pro rely more on the bounce and roll that you're getting from that speed roll technology and the bounciness of that Power Run PB foam. The Power Run HD foam is kind of closer to Light Strike Pro from Adidas, where it has less rebound, but kind of more of a direct, shallower bounce back, where it gives it back to you quicker. So it kind of encourages that quicker turnover, whereas the Pro 4 is more bounding, more bouncy. So let's do a full mile in these and see how they compare. So a 6:11 mile there in the Endorphin Elite. And something that's probably not surprising, but I guess good job to Saucony. These shoes all do feel like and are priced exactly correctly. Like what they line them up for in the lineup. You know, that Speed is designed to be your daily trainer. They could also double as a tempo shoe, a little bit lighter, a little bit springier version of a daily trainer. The Pro kind of fine-tuning that, making it a little bit lighter, a little bit snappier, but still having that bouncy roll sensation that the Speed has. And then the Endorphin Elite just kind of focuses the whole thing. It's the lightest shoe, the most direct, a firmer midsole, but more punchy. Like this one, the bounce, almost compare the Speed and the Pro 4 is like one of those big trampolines you'd have in your backyard where you sink into it and bounce really high. And the Endorphin Elite is more like one of those fitness trampolines you'd see in a gym, like a small one, where it really doesn't go in as much. You know, you're doing smaller bounces, but quicker, little energy return you're getting from the shoe. So this one, every step you take, the minute the midsole hits the ground, it immediately rebounds. So it's just kind of popping you right onto the rocker and the plate and encouraging you to pick up your cadence and run faster. But also, what goes along with that is it's a less forgiving shoe. So I had the fastest mile in this shoe, but I think the longer the race goes, the less I'm gonna wanna use these. I did wear the Endorphin Elite for a marathon a couple months ago, and it's the first time I ever had knee pain after a race. I've been running since 2019 now. I've never had any issues with my knees, thankfully. I have had some other injuries here and there, but never a problem with my knees. After running the marathon in the Endorphin Elite, my knees bothered me for about 2 weeks. So I think if you ask me right now if I was gonna run a 5K, which of these shoes I would wear, I would pick the Endorphin Elite. I'm gonna get the most speed from these over a shorter distance. But then since they're less forgiving, less soft, less bouncy, I feel like they become less efficient for me over a longer race because I'm gonna have to work harder to keep them pushing at that same level of effort. I find that kind of similar to the Nike Vaporfly Next Percent 2, where running short in that shoe, super explosive and fast, but then longer, I feel like if I lose energy, that's not giving me as much bounce without me putting the effort into the plate to get it back. So I would compare this to that, where it's definitely the fastest shoe, but it has less rebound, more of an immediate bounce to help you go fast, but not as comfortable to go long. So I don't think there's really too much more for me to say in this review. It's kind of a uninteresting and predictable result, but this just means that Saucony did a good job of doing exactly what they were trying to do with these three shoes and making the Endorphin line three similar shoes with a little bit different experiences for depending on what you're trying to do in it. So again, price-wise, this one retails for $170. The Pro 4 is $225, and then the Elite is $275. So as we're stepping up in price, we're actually also going down in weight and increasing in technology. So we're getting the more advanced foam, the Power Run HG in this shoe, a combination of the two foams in this shoe. These both get the carbon plate. This gets the nylon plate, so it's a more flexible shoe. These two shoes also have more substantial rubber coverage, so they're going to be more durable, where this one leaves it off on the one side here, and it's a thinner layer of rubber here with less ridges to it. So this is really more stripped down and designed to give you that absolute performance on race day, but it's also the most expensive and most likely going to be the least durable of these three. Fit-wise, I actually like the Pro 4 the best. This to me has the best racing fit. It's a little bit more narrow, a little less volume in the toe box than the Elite, so this actually fits my foot the best of the three. I do really like the heel counter in the Elite though, how it's just that kind of soft pad with this piece behind it. So this is very comfortable for me, for my heel to sit back in the shoe. So the Speed is really designed to be the daily trainer that's going to eat up those miles, be durable, comfortable, and it is still on the lighter side as some trainers go. So again, I think this is going to be a really great shoe for long runs, daily miles, but then if you want to pick up the pace, this definitely has a similar feel, but a little bit more explosive. And as I said before, I'm kind of feeling like I would probably take this one for a marathon over this one, just because this is a little bit more extreme, a little more unforgiving. And the experience that I did have in the marathon that I ran in them, it didn't have a good result in the end. I'm thinking I need a little bit more bounce, a little bit more of a forgiving shoe for that distance. So I think in a shorter race, you know, for a 1 mile, 5K, 10K, I would go with this shoe 100%. Half marathon, it might be a toss-up, but then when we get to the marathon distance, that's where I'm going to lean more towards the Pro. So again, I can run faster in the Elite than I can in the Pro, but just once we get to that longer distance of race, I think the comfort level is what's going to give it to this one over this one for me for that longer distance. So one of my next videos will be a matchup of a lot of these super shoes here. I really want to compare the Edge Paris and the Elite because I think those are really the two fastest shoes I have. I'll also probably mix in the Vaporfly 2 because that was the previous king of the speed shoes, and I'll put the Pro 4 in there as well, although I think that the other ones are going to have their way with that one a bit. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video.